Hello, good evening, and welcome back. During election 2019, Jeremy Corbyn vows to transform United Kingdom. With the way it's going, then yes, sure, transform the United Kingdom would be good. Maybe reverting it back to what made it Great Britain in the first place would be good. Unfortunately, of course, that is not what he has in mind at all. So what does he have in mind? Jeremy Corbyn vowed to transform Britain by taking on the few who run a corrupt system. I'm going to replace the F with a J every time though, because at least then it's more honest. As he kicked off Labour's election campaign, the party leader promised to rebuild public services and hit out at tax dodgers, dodgy landlords, bad bosses and big polluters. It never happens that way. The wealthy people prefer higher taxes because it means that they have a way out of it. I mentioned FDR many times before, and I'm sure I'll mention him again. When they had a 10,000 or some say 15,000 page tax guideline or tax rules, the first two laid out, okay, here are the different tax brackets, here's what you need to pay. And then the remainder, 10, 15,000, were just exemptions. So yes, so you need to pay this unless, and that's ridiculous. I'm all for one law for all, and I don't care how much you're earning, where you're from, what your belief is, what your unalienable rights are, or characteristics are, any of that. I don't think they should be taken into consideration at all, or all the more reason to be against quotas. And then if you look in the SAT scores in America where they're saying, oh yes, well, we should weight particular ethnic minorities in order to help out and even it out. So well no, actually, because the SAT scores even exaggerates or suggests that these SES, socioeconomically underprivileged students perform better on the SATs than they would in their GPAs. So if you weight it more towards them, you're actually doing them a greater disservice by putting them in a group that they can't withstand. And then if you look at how many A's are awarded and that the bell curve has been creeping towards the A's, then you'll see that this is an even bigger problem. But nonetheless, let's read on. The party leader promised to rebuild public services and hit out at tax dodgy landlords, bad bosses and big polluters, yeah. In a speech, Corbyn called the 12th of December poll a once-in-a-generation chance to transform our country. Yes, what have we heard before about once-in-a-generation chance? Oh, Brexit, yes, that's right. And was it? Clearly not. Because apparently we voted the wrong way. We were misinformed. Oh, as in only the Brexiteers were misinformed. Yeah, sure. But Prime Minister Boris Johnson blamed Mr Corbyn for the delay to Brexit. Well, of course, I mean, he was the leader of the party that was largely responsible for stopping Brexit from happening, as he was leader of the opposition, even though if you look at Corbyn's history and liking Tony Benn and saying, yes, the EU is bad for a plethora of reasons, going, well, yes, in which case I agree with you more so. But these days, no, apparently he is now for the EU. Basically just seems to be opportunistic. Maybe he's been swallowed up too much by people like John McDonnell. But who knows? Doesn't matter the way that it is right now. He seems to be for a pro-Remain, a Europhile, if you will. So, Boris Johnson said he was incredibly frustrated that the Halloween deadline had to be extended, but a Conservative election win would remove the logjam. May do, maybe not, considering that the Tories have had 4 different chances to do it. And he even said, yes, well, Halloween is do or die. So, well, not sure if I can trust the Tories yet again, seeing as they haven't been able to live up their promises several times over. And that's not just saying the Tories as a party, but even under its current leadership of Boris Johnson. So I'm intrigued to see how that's going to play out at the polls. And it is exciting times and good to see that despite having a first-past-the-post system, which is normally then a two-party race, you then have 4 parties which are really going for it full on. In which case, yes, you split the vote, but it seems then that the more parties you have with a good chance of winning, the more people actually vote for what they believe in, instead of the tactical voting in order to vote against the party they hate the most. Similar to what I did last time, to say, yes, well, I might prefer UKIP to the Tories, but I have to vote Tories just so that Labour doesn't get in. Whereas this time around, hey, well, I can't vote UKIP, bad example. But we're going to have to see what the Brexit Party brings out, seeing as I live in Manchester anyway, and Lucy Powell is my MP. Let's not go there. That Brexit Party seems like a better choice to vote for. So they say both leaders and those of other parties are beginning 6 weeks of campaigning. But we already know what you stand for, thankfully. In a speech at Battersea Arts Centre, South London, Mr Corbyn received loud cheers from supporters when he said Labour would launch the biggest people-powered campaign in history. Brexit. Flanked by members of the Shadow Cabinet, he said, "You know what really scares the elite? What they're actually afraid of is paying their taxes." Yeah, so they don't. And that's why they like big government and higher taxes so they can avoid it, which is exactly what you're going for. But never mind. So in this election, they'll fight harder and dirtier than ever before. So what? You're going to do it more so to beat them to it, even though it's not going to happen. They'll throw everything at us because they know we're not afraid to take them on. So we're going after the tax dodgers. No, you're not. You're supporting them. We're going after the dodgy landlords. Yes, because the bigger government, the better. We're going after the bad bosses. Bad, yes. You don't like Trump with simple language. Oh, wait. We're going after the big polluters, unless they lobby us more and a bigger government helps them to get away with it. Because we know whose side we're on. Whose side are you on? Big government, complete control, castigating any political enemy. Tommy Robinson shows Bedlungu and Belmarsh. Is that what you're saying? The December election was called for the Prime Minister and is taking place after Corbyn agreed to it, following the EU's decision to delay Brexit. The Labour leader told the audience that, if elected Prime Minister, he would open negotiations with the EU about a sensible relationship with Europe. There is one. Don't forget to go to 70% of our food is already from outside the EU. You've got South American countries saying, we're ready to sell you beef. Yeah, come on. Come to us. And then you don't have to pay the 23% tax or tariff, if you will, for countries outside of the European Union. So we're going to be fine. So if anything about food shortages, no, we'll have more and they'll be cheaper. And, I mean, supermarkets have been able to go through wars and bigger conflicts than Brexit, so they'll easily manage Brexit. Don't you worry about them. The free market will always find a way. So they do go on to mention something that I find very, very interesting. They're talking about the Conservatives being the establishment elite, but I would say the EU more so, seeing as you don't get taxation with representation, given that you can't vote for your EU bureaucracy, and yet they seem to be the highest court in the land. So they're saying the NHS is not for sale because of American trade deals. Yes, America that gets most of the drugs for us, and that's why their healthcare is that much more expensive, because they're doing the research into it. I mean, there are other reasons we won't go into now. And yes, he's saying, no, we're clearly not going to help to reduce costs there. No. And the thing that I find incredible, and you would have thought, haven't you thought about how this is very much back to front? Is he says many times, several times, he asked the audience, whose side are you on? They replied, yours. Isn't that reversed? Surely the people will go, whose side are you on? And the public servants say, yours. Not the public servants say, whose side are you on? The people? Is that yours? I say, yes, you have to be on the side of the big government, otherwise you'll end up in the gulags. Don't you remember? So it's nice that it's that transparent then. Johnson goes on to say he's got a fantastic deal. Lol, no. Johnson promised to stimulate the wealth-creating sector if the Conservatives win the election, saying its context was not about background but a vision for the country. Yes, if you're actually right-wing and individualistic, then this might happen, but seeing as there's a big gap in the United Kingdom at the moment for an actual right-wing party, whatever you want that to mean, I'm not sure if the Tories are really for it anymore. And the academic agent is completely correct about that the left just seem to push policies and then it becomes the new normal, in which case the right swings further and further left as time goes on, just giving up on issues consistently. And so what are they actually conserving? So they're conserving what was radical, 20 years before? No. So what is your point then? Yes, you were right about that, but not about this next thing. Okay, you were right about that, but not about the next thing. Okay, you were right about that, but not about the next thing. How ridiculous. Do you actually have morals, or are you just power grabbing? So Swinson is saying that she could actually be Prime Minister. No. Although, speaking to a friend who's particularly black-pilled, he says, well, yeah, I mean, she's for the status quo and for identity politics and all for pushing the media narrative. So yeah, they're going to get in one way or another, whether it's legal or not. She'll get in. So let's end with Nigel Farage. As other small parties geared up for their election campaigns, the Daily Telegraph reported that the Brexit Party was considering helping the Tories to secure a majority by withdrawing hundreds of its general election candidates. Ooh, they're scheming. However, leader Nigel Farage said that it was idle speculation, adding, "I have not spoken to anyone of any seniority in the party about this." It is funny though, because of course, Farage hasn't really got anything to lose, but the Tories have. Because at the moment, the Tories are in power, even though it's a minority government, and the Brexit Party, no. So, with that in mind, let's say Nigel Farage helps out the Tories. Yes, he gets some seats, and the Tories probably get a majority, or maybe they form a coalition with the Brexit Party and they help each other out. Cool. Let's say Farage doesn't. Maybe then Tories don't form a majority, in which case they'd have to give more power to the Brexit Party. Okay, let's say the Brexit Party might lose out a bit then as well. Well, they haven't really got anything to lose. So what they could easily do is just hedge their bets and say, well, actually, Conservatives, we are going to push harder, so you better get in shape or get out, because we haven't got anything to lose. So unless you basically do what we say before the election, we're going to screw you over, because we have nothing to lose. Which I'm very, very intrigued to see. And I would have respect for that as well, as annoying as it might be. But we're yet to see actual Brexit Party manifestos, so we shall see. So for anyone in the UK looking to vote, the electoral authorities have set a deadline at the end of Tuesday, 26th November, for people to register to vote, and that is the same as the cut-off point to apply for postal votes. That's at 5 p.m. GMT. So, that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think Corbyn actually has any chance? Will the Lib Dems take his seats? Will the Brexit parties take on the Tories? Will they try and form an agreement? What will the Brexit Party manifesto be, considering they are for Brexit first and foremost, and other things seem to fall by the wayside, considering that they have candidates with very, very differing opinions. You got someone like Anne Widdecombe, and then of course you got someone who was a previous member of the Communist Party in the United Kingdom. So, let me know. It's all speculation right now, I know. Unless we get closer over the next month, we should have a much better idea of what's going to happen. But as of yet, I am undecided. So we shall see. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time, and enjoy the rest of your week.